Assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you for joining us. We will be starting the session shortly. And good morning and assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope I'm audible. Please let me know if I'm not. Write it into the Q&A and I will get back to it. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Arusha Latif. I'm a specialist for innovation and women ventures at Karandas. On behalf of my organization, I would like to formally welcome you all to today's proposal development workshop. This session has been organized primarily for prospective applicants to give them clarity on what should be included in their proposals and to answer any queries that they might have. The agenda for today's presentation is to give you an overview of the challenge round, take you through the guidelines for proposal writing and presentation, look at the evaluation criteria, revisit the key dates, and we close the presentation with question and answer session. I would like to remind everyone that if you have not submitted your EOI, you can still submit your technical and financial proposals by the 10th of January. We've extended the date by 5 days, so you can submit your proposals till 10th of Jan. Just to give you a reminder to please follow our social media platforms, including Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, as we communicate through these mediums. Before we begin, I'd like to shed some light on Karandas. Karandas Pakistan was established in 2014 with a mission to foster economic growth and create employment opportunities through financial inclusion of unbanked and underserved individuals and enterprises in Pakistan. Karandas Pakistan has two sponsors, namely UK Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO, and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, BMGF. Karandas Pakistan has four verticals, namely Karandas Capital, which focuses on wholesale investment and equity, Karandas Digital Financial Services, which promotes digital payments, Karandas Knowledge Management and Communication, which focuses on research and knowledge products for internal and external consumption, and Karandas Innovation, which has two components, Women Ventures and Innovation Challenge Fund. The Innovation Challenge Fund program falls under the Karandas Innovation vertical, and it is sponsored by UK Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. A total of 8 challenge rounds have been conducted by Karandas since 2017, out of which 3 were women-centric and were later institutionalized to become the full-time flagship gender financing program called the Women Ventures. We have a diverse set of applicants and awardees each year. We started off in 2017, and our first theme was focusing on international remittances. In 2017 to 2019, we had a Women Entrepreneurship Challenge. In 2018, we focused on SME credit scoring model. 2019 focused on financial inclusion of women. In 2020, we looked at solutions for small distributed financing. In 2021, we launched the Green Challenge Fund. Earlier this year, we also launched a Green Challenge Fund 2 with 4 further themes. Now the Challenge Fund is already closed and we're focusing on the Innovation Challenge Fund. There has been variations in the project duration and funding award size, and it is determined by the selected idea. This year, Karandas is inviting innovative solutions to accelerate women entrepreneurship in Pakistan to reduce the gender gap in economic opportunities for women and foster economic growth. We believe a tech platform is required to reach a large and diverse population of women entrepreneurs through a product that supports business growth and is commercially viable. The objective of the proposed intervention is to bring innovation in business opportunities available for women entrepreneurs and to develop an e-commerce and business finance platform that strengthens the quality of economic participation and financial inclusion for women entrepreneurs. However, we're not looking for gender-focused platform alone, but a platform that has gender targets. We're inviting local technology companies, e-commerce companies, corporations, financial institutions, and other registered companies with demonstrated experience in developing an e-commerce platform and having relevance in the SME sector to apply for the Innovation Challenge Fund. Due to the nature of the project, we will encourage partners to work together and apply as a consortium to cover all aspects of the tech platform. The main features we're looking at are e-commerce, business finance, structured growth, formalization, and customer engagement. Here is a brief overview of the features that platform should offer. We're looking at it from the entrepreneurial perspective, the partner responsibilities, as well as the end client incentives. For the entrepreneur, the platform should offer an electronic portal to set up shop and provide complete logistics and marketing support to the entrepreneur. The platform should also support an embedded business finance feature to cover working capital and business growth needs of the entrepreneur. The business finance feature should be backed by an algorithmic credit scoring functionality for entrepreneurs for business risk profiling and associated debt pricing. We should also allow collateralization against purchase orders generated by the platform. We're looking at upscaling opportunities for facilitating women entrepreneurs in formalizing their business and refining their skills in business management and growth planning. For the implementation partners, their responsibilities include providing the platform development and operations, offering credit scoring options to develop a risk profile for the entrepreneurs, offering business analytics and insights dashboard to access their business performance, and allowing structured business growth through APIs enabling filing of taxes, order fulfillment, debt provisioning, and document management. Ideally, we'll want the ERP to be integrated within the UI and the UX for the entrepreneur. Since the end clients are essential, for the end clients, we want to offer customer engagement and customer support function for the e-commerce marketplace as it is an integral part of the value chain. Now we look at the process flow and the timeline. Currently, we are in stage 1, which focuses on solicitation of applications and selection of partners. This covers the EOI stage, the submission of proposals, presentation, as well as the selection of awardees. The selection of awardees is expected by the end of March 2023. Once the awardees are selected, they'll move to stage 2, which will start in April 2023. This is the project implementation stage. At this stage, the awardees will be involved in data collection, desk research for countries and economies with similar mechanisms, structuring key partnership, and managing commercialization dynamics for the project. This will also allow them to leverage data flows to ensure robust risk assessment. Similarly, it would also allow awardees to make improvement and modification to their existing solutions and refine it further to make it commercially viable. If the awardees have sufficient product and market knowledge, they can move towards implementation through the launch of their pilot. At this stage, the awardees will test their solutions and onboard women-led businesses and other key stakeholders for the success of the project. The awardees will also leverage existing and new technologies to cover all facets of the tech platform. In the final stage, the awardees will work to consolidate learnings from their pilot and move towards a full launch of their product and services. Moving forward to the business plan submission, we're looking at submitting two proposals. One will be a technical proposal and the other will be a financial proposal. For the technical proposal, you're required to submit a 24-page document. The technical proposal must include all these sections. Section 1 will be executive summary. It should focus on the approach being used for the project, and it will highlight very briefly about the strengths of the applicants. Section 2 will focus on the value proposition. This is to give an overview of what you are proposing in terms of the scope and functionality. It should also highlight the innovation that you aim to bring towards the project. Section 3 should focus on market analysis. This should discuss the demand side, the supply side of the project, regulatory framework, and policies in the country. We're looking at key trends, opportunities, and challenges in the ecosystem. Section 4 is your approach. This is what are you bringing to the tech platform. Here you should highlight your research and data. What are the existing practices in the market situation and the technology available, and how do you intend to improve it? You can talk about your key resources that you would require, such as hardware or software. Thirdly, you should focus on the project process flow. This should provide a detailed breakdown of the technical process and link it to the key milestones in your project. You should also focus on the innovativeness of the approach. You should discuss the approach as being innovative and how the state of digital platforms of women entrepreneurs can be improved. In the same section, please also highlight your implementation plan. Provide a realistic time frame for implementation, including performance deliverables, timelines, and milestones. We'll also request you to provide the governance arrangements, such as the team structure and the requisite expertise to manage the project. Lastly, in this session, you should also focus on sustainability, scalability, and soundness of your project. We would require you to demonstrate potential for scale-up and sustainability after support from Karandas. In section 5, the design inception stage, you should focus on the elements and refinement needed in your model. Section 6 should highlight the pilot testing stage, and it should lay out your approach to testing the solution and refining the model. Section 7 should highlight the applicant's profile. This is going to be your team's capabilities as well as the organization profile, showing and highlighting how you will execute the project. It will also talk about the commitment of the applicants, given this is going to be almost a 3-year term. So we need commitment from the applicants and as well. Section 6 and Section 8 and Section 9 should cover the results and learning as well as the risk assessment. You should highlight a risk matrix which covers key risks that you foresee in your project implementation. All these sections are also covered in the RFPs, so please head over to our website to look at the detailed version. Along with the technical proposal, we've also requested a financial proposal. The financial proposal should include a detailed budget covering the full duration of the proposed program. The funding will depend on the proposed solution, but however, in your funding for financial proposal, you should include the funds required for the model development. This includes cost of consultants, technical experts, and data acquisition. You should also talk about the funds required for operationalization of the project. This includes costs related to project staff, procurement of hardware and software, travel, data collection, as well as data monitoring. You should also talk about how you will scale the project and what returns you're expecting. Karandas may provide a risk cover relevant to financial institutions to commercialize the solution. However, terms and modalities will depend on the proposed solution. Financial co-investment commercialization of the technology and solution is encouraged. In addition to the above breakdown, the financial proposal should also include proposed milestones-based disbursement schedule, as the award will be dispersed in tranches. So you should talk about the deliverables, outcomes, the means for verification to check where and how the deliverables are complete. In the case of the consortium, the proposal should specify the share of each consortium member in the budget. All amounts should be mentioned in rupees Along with the proposal, these are the mandatory documents that are also required and should be attached in annexure. We'd want you to submit your certificate of incorporation, a copy of your NTN, your audited financial statements. If you are a registered company, if you have your audited financial statements, that's good. If you don't, please submit your management accounts. We like to have a letter of intent from consortium partners, letter of intent from financial institutions, since we're looking at supporting business finance. So if you have a financial institution on board, please share the letter of intent. We'd also want you to submit the implementation timeline for each key milestone. Lastly, we'd want to see the CVs of the key personnel that will be working on the project. If you do not submit your documents, your proposal will not be considered. So please ensure to submit all documents that are required. The financial and technical proposal along with these documents need to be emailed at ichallenge@karandas.com.pk by 10th of January 2023. It is strongly recommended that applicants use the same headings as mentioned under the technical proposal slide. Let us look at the final presentation. Once your proposals are approved, you'll move to the final presentation stage. In the final presentation stage, each applicant will be required to make a formal 45-minute presentation. 15 minutes will be for presentation and 30 minutes will be for the Q&A session to the advisory committee. The presentation should only include technical proposal and not the financial proposal. The presentation will provide the advisory committee an opportunity to interact with the applicants and to gain further clarity on methodology, gauge the team's capabilities, and assess the assumptions used in the proposal. The presentations are scheduled to be held tentatively between 23rd to 27th of January 2023. We'll now move on to the evaluation criteria. As I've already discussed, we're looking into inviting local technology companies, e-commerce companies, and companies with demonstrated experience in e-commerce platforms and relevance in the SME sector in Pakistan. The applicant should have demonstrated knowledge and expertise in the focal sector in Pakistan. And if a consortium is applying, they should be formally registered entity. We're looking at participant entities that are compliant with the government of Pakistan's laws and are tax registered. Let's look at the assessment criteria. There are going to be 6 metrics that your proposal will be judged on. The first one is relevant expertise of the applicant. We'll be looking at section 7 and the next year's as mentioned in the technical proposal, and this has a weightage of 15%. The profile of the project team will have a weightage of 10%, and we'll judge it from section 7. The third metric will be quality of the proposed methodology for model development and refinement. That has a 20% weightage, and we'll look at section 2 and section 6. The approach for the testing of model will be looked at from section 6, and it will have a weightage of 15%. The innovativeness and the sustainability of your approach is quite important, and we will have a weightage of 20%. We'll visit section 2 and section 4 from the technical proposal to judge this. Section 6 will have the criteria for approach to project monitoring, lesson sharing risk. This is also very important with a weightage of 20%, and we will look at section 8 and section 9 to determine this. The advisory committee will make the recommendations, and the recommendations will be presented to the board for final approval. Let's revisit the key dates. Today is 16th of December. We have another 4 weeks for you to submit your proposal. Your proposal should reach us by 10th January, 5 p.m. If you have any queries on your questions, please make sure that you send them by 6th January 2023. Once your proposals get through and are selected for presentation, you will be informed accordingly. The presentations will take place between 23rd to 27th of January, and tentatively the final announcements will take place in March after the vote. This is a standard confidentiality clause. Information related to examination, evaluation, comparison, and post-qualification proposals and recommendations of the contract should not be disclosed to any firm or any other person that is not officially concerned with the selection process until publication of the contract award. Thank you so much. I will now open the floor for questions. I will unmute you once you raise your hand, and then you can ask your questions accordingly. So if you have any questions, please raise your hand and we will take them one by one. Uh, so sorry, Saif, I'm unable to hear you. Can you please repeat your question?
Or no, I thought, yeah. I'm Seth from Paypro. I'm a product manager over here. Um, so my question was just wanted to recheck one thing that so everybody has to send both a, a financial proposal and technical proposal. That's the correct understanding, right?
Correct. Yes, you will have to send two
Okay.
proposals, including the technical
Hmm.
and the financial, along with the documents.
All right. And you also mentioned that the ERP has to be integrated within the UI. So you mean that the partner, the whatever service we are bringing to the table,
Yeah.
that has to be integrated within the UI of this large platform that we will be building together. Uh, and so all the so basically everybody has to have their APIs ready when the time is there. That's so that I'm just confirming things that if my understanding is correct.
Okay, Seth. So what we want is that initially you might not be having an integrated platform, but over the period
Hmm.
of the project, we want you to integrate all these services so that at the end of the day, it will become a one-stop shop solution for the
Hmm.
end client, which is the entrepreneur. So ideally, you should be able to do it once the project is in pipeline.
Sure, sure. So so one needs to have a capacity to at least do it in that
Exactly,
sense.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right. All right.
And
Okay. And
thank you.
yep. So
If you're
that's all I have from my side here. Thanks.
all right, thank you so much, Saf. Uh, Umar bin Najib Saab, Assalamu alaikum. If you have any questions, please go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much for that extended detail. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, yes, Umar Saab, please go ahead.
Gee, okay. So you've talked about implementation partners, and let's suppose at the start of the proposal, we've identified few partners, and during the journey of development, maybe perhaps there are more partners coming in, or let's say partners changing in. So is there a process where do we need to disclose the updation in the implementation partners, or we can go about with it?
All right. So what I catch from your question is whether you need to mention them in your financial and technical proposals. Then yes, you need to mention them in your technical proposal, as it will be required to mention all the partners that will be working with you. If in during the process and during the flow of the project, if a new implementation partner comes on board, then you will have to inform Karandas accordingly. But ideally, would want you to mention all your implementing partners in your technical proposal.
All right, got it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If you don't have any questions, I will be unmuting you now.
Haji, that's it from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Moiz Hussain Saab, please go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. I'll just introduce myself. I'm from Neem Exponential, which is kind of a fintech company. My question is, I just wanted to understand if Neem also qualifies, because we are in the middle of, doing whatever is required, in this entire thing. Like we have started our project, the licenses are there, the project development is in the middle, and we are partnered with financial institution, and we are building a kind of a similar kind of things that where we would be lending and we would be providing payment support and marketplace. So I just want to know, just because we are not there at the start and we are in the middle, how do I go about submitting the application? Because it will not be something that it's not an inception state. Everything has happened and we are kind of like, say, 30%, 40% in the middle till our product comes into the market. So I just want to understand that where do I stand? How do I, put in my application?
Great. Moise, thank you so much for your question. And I think this would also answer the question for most of the people. We're not looking at the implementation stage only. We're looking at companies that are established but have some features that they're offering at the moment and would like to create more value addition on their platform by maybe, let's say, they currently have an e-commerce platform and they'd like to add on business finance features. So if you aim to do that, then yes, this is the right place for you. Submit your proposal, talk about some value addition that you can bring with respect to gender focused targets, as well as other technological and innovative solutions. So not only is this innovation challenge round for inception stage companies, but also for companies that are currently established, have 1 to 2 features, but are looking into making it a one-stop solution for the suppliers and the entrepreneurs and the women-led businesses. I hope that clarifies the question.
Yeah, that clarifies the question, because I think at this stage we have like few things in mind, but we want to go ahead and build out all the features that you talked about. So that, because we are in a pre kind of revenue, the product is not out. So those value additions would help us with this grant or funding, so that we do it better. So I think I got it now. That okay.
Great. All right.
Thanks.
Thank you, Moise. Thank you, Moise. I will be unmuting you now. Thank you. Waiting you now. Umar bin Najib Saab, do you have any further questions?
No, that's it from my side. I'm okay.
Thank you so much. Khurram Kadir Saab, please go ahead and ask your question. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
There's a couple of things I wanted to ask. One was that, for those people who potentially applying for something like this for the first time, are there any online resources and, sample proposals that are available on Karan Das's website and otherwise, where we can actually review and read and basically understand, we have a little bit more of an understanding of how the proposals need to be filed, number one. And number two, I wanted to know, who do we reach out to if we have more questions later on when we basically are developing the proposal, and if we need some guidance and need some questions answered?
Thank you, Khurram, for your questions. So we don't have any proposals we have guidelines available that are on our website. So please visit our website, icf.karandas.com.pk. You will find an RFP guideline there. It highlights all the sections that should be included in technical proposal in greater detail, so you know what is needed to be included in each section. Similarly, you will also know what documents that are required to be submitted along with your proposal. For your second question, my name is Arusha Latif, and I will be available to answer any of your queries. You can email us at ichallenge@karandas.com.pk or email me directly at arusha.latif@karandas.com.pk. I will leave my email ID on the Q&A. You can reach out to me directly.
Thank you, Rusa.
Thank you so much. Asjad Latif Saab, you had a question?
No, thank you so much. Please carry on.
Asjad Latif, if you have a question, please go ahead and ask.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum ji. My name is Asjad Abdul Latif. Acha, जैसे मोइस ने नीम से कहा ना कि they have, I'm sure कि they are building a model on for the financing या B2B financing के ऊपर, right? Now, similarly, what we have is we have expertise, let's say, as far as the marketplace is concerned, या women entrepreneurship, या उसके incentives is concerned, but definitely we'll be requiring some partners to complete this proposal. So, ये जो submission है, it will be a joint proposal kind of a thing. Yeah, somebody will going to take a lead and with all the other parties on board. How this whole thing will be like, let's suppose if we want to do a tie-up or a partnership with the fintech, in that case, we will be the primary or it will be a joint proposal?
So ideally, it will be a joint proposal. We'd want you to reach out to these implementing partners and discuss the deliverables that you aim to achieve and apply for the proposal together, because we want to see all the implementing partners in your technical proposal.
Sure.
So this is something on your own, and then once you have all the implementing partners on board, you can submit your proposal by the 10th of January 2023.
Done. Thanks, Arusha.
Thank you.
Lucia, if I also may add, Moise and Asjad, responding to your question, if there is a consortium and also for rest of the colleagues, please do make sure who is the lead partner on that. Clearly identify the roles. If there is a consortium, what each consortium partner's role is, and what are the who is going to lead it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Some of the participants have left some questions in the Q&A session. If you have any other question and you want to leave them on in the question and answer box, please do so now so that we can address them. I hope most of the questions are already answered, but if you still have any questions, please leave them here in the Q&A. Moise, I believe you've answered your question. I am going to unmute you again. Moise, do you have any further questions? I just saw that you said that you have a question. All right. Conclude. Please ask your question.
Did you unmute me? Can you hear me?
Moise, right? Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah,
Please go
I
ahead.
had a little question on after you explained something. So Neem has a lot of partners, but those are our kind of suppliers and vendors. We are not lead, but we are getting help from them to build our own platform. So should I like consider them as partners and consortiums, or because everything is proprietary owned by Neem? Those could be tech partners, help from tech people, a bank, a financial institution helping us getting a particular support. So at this moment, I just want to understand, be clarified that would those be our partners, because the entire solution is mine, I own it. It's just that those are kind of vendors. So for this proposal, should I even think of them or kind of including them over here? Because the entire thing is my own teams. I own it.
All right, Moise. So we'd advise you to mention these vendors if you're comfortable with that. If they're providing any sort of technical support or a financial support, then definitely mention them. If they're coming in as a financial partner, we'd want them to be mentioned, and we also want them. Also want you to write down the budget that they'll be contributing towards the project. Other than that, if you mention, yes,
I'll do that. Sorry to cut you off. I'll be mentioning them the budget allocation, because those are the payments. But I just don't want any approvals or kind of telling that they are my consortium. Those would not be a consortium. We are not building something in with them. It's just we are taking a slight bits and pieces of each of the vendors that are there to help us build that.
Completely understandable. If that's the case, you don't have to mention them as an implementing partner. You can mention them as your vendors and suppliers and your support partners. But if they have a stake in the company and the final product, then we'd want you to mention them.
Okay, no, they don't have it. So I'm clarified. They don't have any stake.
Great.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Finclude, do you have a question?
Hi, this is Mohsin Tirmidhi. Thank you very much for the detailed view, Arusha. So I had a few questions, and I think I put them on the chat channel as well. But the questions that the responses have not been clear to me. Sorry.
Please go ahead and ask them again, so it might also benefit other participants.
Okay. So the first question is, what are the KPIs for measurement of the impact of the program? So while I am being told that broadly inclusion, broadening and deepening of access to finance is required, but I consider that this is not detailed enough. So for example, when we're talking about women entrepreneurs, we have to be very specific on the targeted objectives in terms of what is the impact that you are assessing from the proposal on these business entrepreneurs. And some of the key variables that I've seen in different programs is measurement of business productivity, sales growth, job growth, diversity increase, it cannot be financial inclusion only, because women entrepreneurs, obviously, in our context, there is a skew towards Islamic finance, and the mode of financing can be equity. So, how are we, while we are preparing, we understand that Karanda stands for financial inclusion, but in this program, we need to be more clear in terms of the KPIs and the impact in terms of indicators that you are targeting.
Thank you so much, Mohsin, for your question. You're quite right. We're looking at financial inclusion and women empowerment, but the KPIs will depend on what you can bring on the table. Definitely, we're looking at giving them more opportunities to have a place to sell their products. So obviously, sales growth will be one of the KPIs, and we're looking at giving them ancillary services such as logistics and marketing. So the more features that you add on the platform could be one of the KPIs. Then how many female entrepreneurs do you have on board on your e-commerce platform? That could be one of the KPI. So the KPI depends on what you bring on the table and how you structure your product. So it is definitely something that you can bring on the table. We'll be open to different KPIs, and we'll like to see how you plan on measuring those KPIs.
Arusha, if I also may add, Mohsin Saab, your thoughts.
I'm sorry?
Do you wanted to say something before I could say?
Right. I think it's not what I am bringing to the table. I think what Karandas is looking at. So, for example, and obviously the target segment that we are expected to approach or make an intervention is not very clear, right? So, women entrepreneurs I'll be looking at registered or unregistered businesses, years of business, employees, revenues, pre-revenue, post-revenue. So in terms of the segmentation of the segment that you want to make an intervention in, that segmentation, I had not been able to figure it out. Which segmentation are we primarily looking at? For example, if I'm to present a solution, it can be, again, once on a broad paintbrush, can be looking at a certain women entrepreneur segment. And then the second layer is the type of business. So we understand that women entrepreneurs are, from my experience and for others, and maybe people will add on. So women entrepreneurs, so 70% of the women businesses are services business. So either it's giving out tuitions, grooming business, cooking business, so most of it is service delivery where there is a limited impact on large scale manufacturing. So more than 70% of my experience is women entrepreneurs engaged in these kind of services. And measurement of services against for a credit score, I'll be looking at already. So from a segment perspective, I'll be looking at the solutions to target specific service businesses which have been. So is there a skew towards what kind of businesses is Karandas looking at supporting? So primarily, from a intervention segment specific, there is no, at least I couldn't see the guidelines. The second question obviously is the impact, right? So we want to see at the end of 3 years, the people that we have made an intervention is their business grows by X%, their jobs grow by Y%, their access to finance grows by Z%. So if these were to be given as a target to people, then they can look at assembling the right partners and then targeting with the right solution. That's what I think it is.
Mohsin Saab, thank you. You raised very pertinent points. I'll give you a brief recap of what Challenge Fund means to us. We are never prescriptive. The idea for Karandas to launch a Challenge Fund is identify a problem, which is a problem statement, and then invite solutions from the people so that they can propose certain solutions which sometimes we can't even think of. This essentially means that we are not prescriptive in anything. For example, in purpose of target setting, market niches, or even in sectors approach. That is why idea for our call for applications is not sector specific, it is open. However, if any solution wants to be sector specific and has certain potential to demonstrate expansion or other elements such as adoption or scalability, those are all factors that are considered. However, we'll restrict ourselves to be prescriptive at the idea sourcing stage. That's one part. Second part, certain KPIs, for example, sales growth, job creation, and any other things might be very relevant in one sector, in one solution, but those may not be relevant in another solution. This means that there is an element of exclusion, which we don't want to build at the time of idea sourcing. We leave it to the applicants. If an idea seems to be compelling, be it sector specific or sector agnostic, we'd still like to hear, we'll still give them an opportunity. And coming to KPIs and potential impact measurements, we have given the broad guidelines. It's more about deepening access, and it's not specific to women only. We will value a gender element, gender financing, and addressing gender gaps, but that's not the restriction. Said that, if again, I would say we have given broad SDGs which are corresponding to our thematic area. We've given a broader thematic area in terms of deepening penetration, access to finance, using alternate channels, which is through market platforms. The other impact outcomes, we leave it open at the time of idea sourcing and applications. Once there is a winner, we identify key targets. So in nutshell, long story short, we will at this stage will not prefer to be prescriptive. That's our approach. We value your opinions, and those are important points. But for us, I believe those are considered at a stage where negotiations start happening, where there is a, we know there is a clear winner of the idea, which perhaps we don't even think of. One. Second, Arusha, you want to add something? Please explain what are the conventional instruments that we have been using, and when we say concessional debt, grant, what kind of instrument options are available with us, please?
Thank you so much, Hasnath. Mohsin, I hope this clarified the first part of your question. You've also mentioned that the grant is focused on concessional debt. Yes, this is going to be a debt instrument. It's going to be a term loan that will be divided in tranches. It will be released and based on the certain deliverables that we agree on with the partner. Once the deliverables are in place and we have verified the deliverables, we will be dispersing the amount in tranches. Your second question revolves around involvement of Parvaz. Parvaz Financial Services is our wholly owned subsidiary. Once the selection committee selects the awardees and it is approved by the board, and we agree on the final terms and modalities of the project, the funding will be released to Parvaz Financial Services through our instructions, obviously. If you have any other question, please go ahead and ask them now.
Thank you, Asnath, for identifying that we are keeping the indicators open. So I think that's a call that I'm sure the program design dictates. In terms of my first question was the segment that we want to make an intervention in. So is that all also very open at this time? So we do not want to include or exclude a certain types of women entrepreneurs, obviously, which will then also include male entrepreneurs, that is described in the grant proposal, number one. So if I can have an answer to that, and then maybe a follow-up question in terms of the concessional debt. So I think I am a little confused in terms of when you're saying concessional debt, or is it a reimbursement modality of the grant funding? So for example, in a typical grant funding, there is milestones, there is obviously an expectation that you will do certain things, you will invest in yourself, and then it will be a reimbursement program based on your deliverables. So there is no concept of concessional debt. Is it for the concessional debt? I would understand is for the grantees, or is it for the partner?
So, again, very pertinent questions, and thank you for raising those. Please allow us opportunity that our challenge fund is slightly different from what conventional challenge funds are, and that's based on the learnings. One said that we purposely kept them open and will continue doing so. Even we did in other challenge rounds, we encourage the ideas to come, and they should be coming. As I said earlier, prescription restricts the ideas. That's why we leave them open. On coming to, you also asked about Parvaz. Parvaz is fully operational and it is wholly owned subsidiary. Depending upon the solution, role of each arm of Kandas comes in. For example, if there is a need for research, there is a research vertical that also comes in. If there is a need of financing, the financing comes in from the Parvaz Financial Services or from Karandas. So it entirely depends upon the solution. Those are internal modalities that we can do. For the idea to pitch, if I look at, simple si baat hai. If I'm pitching an idea, I know what are my funding needs. मेरे partners कौन सी और मेरी target market कौन सी है. Let's say target market women segment है, home based workers है. There can be multiple solutions. एक solution उसमें ये हो सकता है कि I become a tech platform जो e-commerce उनको e-marketplace दे देता है. But then I also identify as a solution provider कि उसके अंदर financing का gap है. Those growth के लिए उनको growth finance चाहिए. उसके बाद the next element is उनके बिजनेस की ग्रोथ को मैंने टारगेट करना है या मैंने उनकी जो है वो मार्केट प्लेस और उनकी टेक्निकल कैपेबिलिटीज के ऊपर करना है. So it can be blended into one solution. And just giving a raw example, instead of advising everyone to start thinking on those lines. हर स्टेज के ऊपर every type of intervention, the investment instruments are different. It can be grants, it can be recyclable capital at very concessional rates, let's say below, much below KIBOR. And also it can be again another form of in-kind technical assistance. We are keeping it open that in any solution at any stage, multiple funding instruments can be used. For example, अगर किसी का idea उसने टेस्ट किया हुआ है, पायलट किया हुआ है एक छोटे स्केल के ऊपर, wants to scale up, its financing needs will be different as compared to किसी ने एक आइडिया टेस्ट करना है जो पहले मार्केट में टेस्ट नहीं हुआ और फिर उसके स्केलेबिलिटी की तरफ. मल्टीपल इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स कैन बी यूज्ड. शुरू में ग्रांट्स यूज की जा सकती हैं, आखिर में इन काइंड या दरमियान में इन काइंड असिस्टेंस करते हैं. But for technical growth, for business growth, that's why we encouraged and we also allowed this flexibility consortium partners, financial institutions के form में. Now the financing part comes in. Financing, अगर वो licensed entity है, उसको allowed है on this platform, जो आपका solution कोई भी pitch कर रहा है, they either need, आप देख लें उसमें, for example, they need guarantees, they need liquidity, they need financing के लिए उनके पास अपनी वो नहीं होगी and they would want risk participation even. So multiple instruments use किए जा सकते हैं even for, और target market क्या है? Target market है is the end beneficiary who is economically active, home based worker है, sector based worker है, access to finance restrict हो रही है, and this platform allows them not only sell their products or services, but also it allows them the expansion opportunities. वो किसी भी फॉर्म में हो सकती हैं. Concessional debt, when we say our philosophy is that we don't run the programs which disappear once the program disappears. Once the funding is restricted, our approach is we don't fund any solution जहाँ पे exit के बाद उसकी self sustainability now. That's our philosophy of the program. So essentially it means that at some stage, somewhere during the middle of the implementation or towards the end of the implementation, उसकी self-sufficiency जरूर होनी चाहिए. That is why we build in this concessional debt, returnable capital है. Some elements can be grant, some elements, depending upon the solution, can be returnable capital, which is in simple terms, loans at a very, very concessional rate. So whenever we say that the concessional debt, it's below market rates, and perhaps with minimum collateral requirements. I hope I answered your questions.
Yes, not that is to extent, but I just wanted to add one more thing. So when we are talking about these instruments, so hypothetically, I'm speaking that, for example, I say that I think that we can move from the needle from X to Y. For moving X to Y, in our proposal, FinClude needs, let's say, 50 million rupees in technical assistance, and we would need, let's say, 50 million as concessional debt for the entrepreneurs that come onto the platform. So are we combining the entire requirement of both the entrepreneurs that are coming onto the platform, hypothetically speaking, if this is a platform, and the technical partner who's also implementing? So are these two different items? Because what Arusha told was that the technical grant, for example, which is let's say 50 million is my requirement to actually build this platform, hypothetically speaking. So that will be based on approved milestones, which I will invest first, and then you will reimburse. But then once the platform is built, then we are giving to give, let's say, 50 million for the entrepreneurs to build their businesses or build new products or services in their businesses, which will be the obligor in that case will be the grantee and not the technical partner. So are we combining both the two?
Yes, I think part of it is yes, combining. Part of it is no. So it depends who is the lead in the solution. If the lead of the solution is the technical partner who is providing the grant support or technical assistance, it will be obviously will be more receptive of the grant. But then there is that element of financing. Someone has to do that too. It can be done through Parvaz, it can be done through other licensed entities. For example, जो भी mobile money operators हैं in Pakistan, even those can be used. Are all those entities who got some sort of licensing from the regulators to do the lending part. Someone has to take that responsibility if they are proposing a loan element, perhaps, which is also one requirement of the solution itself. So it will be a blend of grant and loan. One of the partners taking responsibility for the loan, the other taking responsibility for developing the solution for which grant is required. So it will be blended. But the financial proposal should be clear who is needing what and why. So clarity at the time of the design of the solution is important. When it is pitched as part of the proposal, the readers should have, obviously the advisory committee should have clarity कि किस बंदे को किस तरह की when I say बंदा as partner, किस तरह की financial support चाहिए. Sustainability only comes when the grant element is minimal and there is an element of returnable capital. A grant element we believe is essential, but we don't want to promote grantpreneurs. We want to promote entrepreneurs who run beyond post Karandas.
Thank you, Asna. I'm sorry, I'm taking more time and trying to understand this. And if anybody thinks that I'm stretching on their boundaries, so please indicate and I will drop my questions. But the proposal would, and the reality on the ground is that, while we are targeting digital companies, it will be really unfair for, a lot of technology companies which are trying to propose and change an intervention is to bring to the table also a financial services partner, which is ready to make a financial access intervention and committing some asset portfolio to that as well. So in that, because again, there is a Islamic financing concept also. So even if I say that I am proposing the solution, but I want it to be a Sharia compliant, and my consortium doesn't allow to go beyond Sharia. So either I bring an Islamic bank into the picture, or I should leave it up to Parvaz to actually evaluate these individual entrepreneurs, and try and pitch them their solution. So as I understand, and please correct me if I'm wrong, if Parvaz has both Islamic and non-Islamic windows also, but what I don't think it would be right that the proposals or the proposees, the technical implementation partner, should be weighed on basis of bringing a financial institution into the picture which is ready to underwrite a credit. Because for sometimes people are just not comfortable selling technology with an angle of financial services, and do it because of Sharia compliance reasons. So my question is, would it be a disadvantage to somebody who, even if can and ask an Islamic bank to partner onto the consortium, does not want to do that because they just want to offer a plain vanilla technology solution, which does the credit scoring and does everything, but still they do not want to make a bank into the consortium.
So my question to you, Arisha, sorry, allow me. My question to you before we answer this is, what would be the adoption and scalability of this model? Who is going to scale it up?
The scaling would not be limited to the access to finance, right? So there are definitely advantages which are measurable against the job growth, the performance growth of the entrepreneur. But access to finance is one component of it. So access to finance can be measured, but actually creating an asset portfolio cannot be measured. So definitely the technical partner, as I said, for example, in our case, let's say we are saying that this technical proposal required a 50 million intervention in terms of technical software development, hypothetically speaking. And we think that, or our research tells us that this is 50 million of running finance lines maybe would be needed by the entrepreneurs that join the platform. However, this 50 million would be dished out by Parvaz, A, B, C, D, any of the banks, but they will not be a part of my proposal.
We thank you, Mohsin Saab, for flagging it. Our hypothesis is that, and our experience is, there are again, once the grant is pulled out, the solution, if not scaled up independently, disappears. And this has been happening. That is why we encourage the solutions which have this element of scalability. Our entire idea, access to finance through this solution is core component. This cannot be standalone ignored, because we believe it is essential for the scalability of the ideas. There is a fintech, there is only tech company, not the fintech, jo designs this idea, do the credit scoring and does everything, but then it disappears. Nobody adopts it. There is no point of doing it, honestly. There has been a lot of literature available about that. स्कोरिंग भी होनी चाहिए, सोशल स्कोर भी होने चाहिए, टेक्नोलॉजी प्लेटफॉर्म्स भी होने चाहिए. दैट सो वी बिलीव कि अगर इसको स्केलेबल करना है, देयर हैज टू बी एन एलिमेंट ऑफ परपेचुइटी इन इट, और परपेचुइटी रिटर्नेबल कैपिटल से आती है, ग्रांट से इन आवर एक्सपीरियंस नहीं आती है. वन, परवाज का रोल इन एनी सोल्यूशन हो सकता है, नहीं भी हो सकता. परवाज कैन डू होलसेलिंग. अगर परवाज के साथ सोल्यूशन के अंदर डायरेक्ट रिटेलिंग का मॉडल पिच हुआ हुआ है, देन परवाज विल बी डूइंग द अंडरराइटिंग. अदरवाइज परवाज का रोल नहीं है. सो वी डोंट सी दैट हैपनिंग अनलेस the technical partner reaches out to Parvaz and tells them, here is the solution, let's go out in the market. हम टेक्निकल साइड लेके आते हैं, आप जो है फाइनेंसिंग साइड क्रेडिट अंडरराइटिंग वाला काम. हमारे नजदीक in current practice, Parvaz का role is more of a wholesaling model. If there is a tech, there is a financial institution, बेशक वो Sharia compliant products के ऊपर काम कर रहा हो या non Sharia conventional products के ऊपर काम कर रहा हो, wholesaling की जहाँ पे जरूरत आती है, let's say guarantees चाहिए होती है, risk participation चाहिए होती है, other forms, वो Parvaz can do as a wholesale, or Karandaz can do as a wholesale. We don't see at this stage, we won't compel any solution or push any solution कि वो आप solution technical pitch करें और Parvaz उसकी retailing कर रहा हो. No, हम उसके ऊपर नहीं जाना चाहेंगे. Unless that solution provider and Parvaz itself talk to each other और वो अपना मिलके कोई एक solution propose कर देते हैं. That's fine for us. But we won't push it. हाँ, अगर if there is a need for collaboration, we can facilitate that collaboration. हम उसको neither we exclude that, neither we push for that. One. दूसरा, Parvaz at this stage or even Karandaz at this stage, technically speaking, has no Sharia board, which essentially means कि हम Sharia compliant products इस तरह की खुद retail नहीं कर रहे हैं. On the other hand, we don't discourage, rather we have some of our verticals have worked with Sharia compliant banks, जो Islamic banks हैं उनके साथ काम के ऊपर, और हमारे we have a few products on जहाँ पे risk sharing हो रही होती है, and there is this element of Sharia compliant financing. So if you bring in any partner who is offering Sharia compliant products to your solution, we are absolutely fine it. उनको सिर्फ ये चाहिए होगा कि they would need to be sure कि the financing or returnable capital that they get is based on their requirements of their Sharia board. In past, we have done that under different programs, so that doesn't restrict us from funding a solution which wants to offer Sharia compliant. Arusha, you wanted to add? I will stop here.
And thank you so much, Asnath, and thank you mostly for your questions. I just want to highlight that technical grant element will be quite limited. We will be focusing on concessional debt. If a financial partner in any form comes on board, we have incentives for them, as we might look into the modalities and offer some sort of risk participation or credit guarantees in forms of non-funded facilities to the financial partner to have the motivation to lend to these end clients, which are the entrepreneurs. So this is something that I wanted to highlight. If you have any further questions, please go ahead. Otherwise, we will move to other participants.
I'm sorry, this is becoming too technical in terms of fintech, and you said that you can do a wholesale extension. Am I audible?
Yes. We lost
Okay.
you for a minute. Please repeat your question.
No, so what I was saying is that, I'm just responding to Asnath and maybe for everybody's purpose. And Asnath was saying that we have realized that over a period of literature and others, that as soon as we remove the crutches of grant, it dies down. So
yeah,
I just want to build a hypothetical case. Let's assume this is Shopify. Hypothetically speaking, Shopify is, let's say, anybody can build a Shopify store at $100, hypothetically speaking, and be making a commerce available, right? So the challenge now is, would the women entrepreneur be able to support $100 a month now? So what Hasnath and I understand is that Karandas grant cannot be used to subsidize that $100 grant for that $100 per month Shopify store for the women entrepreneur. They are expecting that $100 should be funded by some financial institution in terms of a concessional debt, which will gradually, so that when the business grows, they'll be able to pick up that cost. If I were to visualize this in that context, number one. And the second, obviously, is since there is no cap to and I asked that historically, what has been the max in terms of technical grant that has been provided to any of the applicants?
Boston sir, let's hold your question for a while. There are a few other hands that have been raised. Let's take their questions. I'll park your question and I'll come back to you.
Sure. Apologies. Okay,
please.
No issues. Thank you so much, Mohsin. We'll get back to you very soon. There are a couple of other people who wanted to ask some questions. Asamullah Sahab, please go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum. So I think Hasnat was quite clear with the KPIs, industry-based KPIs that are going to be judged. So I got the clarity on that. However, the three criterias that you had mentioned earlier, the relevant experience of applicants, profile of the project team, I wanted to have clarity that the percentage on which these criteria are based, it's basically based on how the team is relevant to the industry itself.
Yes, the industry itself, as well as their backgrounds, it could include their education and their experiences and how well they are relevant in the field that they're working in. So this would also be part of the profile of the project team. I believe that was your question.
Yes, that was the question. I think that's fine. Thank you so much. That's fine.
Thank you, Samula. Thank you. Shoaib Saab, please go ahead and ask your question. Shoaib Saab, are you with us?
Perhaps it's Suhaib Saab, maybe.
Sorry, my bad. Suhaib Saab? Suhaib Arshad Saab. Okay, we'll circle back to you. Bushra, sorry.
Yeah, please answer her question.
Bushra Izhar Saiba. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, sorry, I just joined a little late because I was in a meeting. मुझे थोड़ा सा ये पूछना था कि I have filled the form, जो एक basic form था वो मैंने fill कर दिया था. Now because I've just joined in the question and answer session, तो मुझे ये पूछना था कि how do we go about it? मैंने steps तो पढ़ लिए थे, लेकिन what is the next step?
Okay, thank you, Bushra. Please mute yourself. I think there is some issue with the voice. Okay, I'm going to answer your question now. And thank you, Bushra. So you filled out the EOI. It's all right. Now the next step is to prepare your technical and financial proposals. We have a guideline for all the elements and all the content that needs to be included in the technical proposal. So please prepare your proposal, both technical and financial, along with the documents. You need to submit them by 10th of January on ichallenge@karandas.com.pk. That is our official email address. So you need to submit those documents and your proposals by 5 p.m. on 10th of January to be considered for the next stage. Thank you so much.
Okay, another thing is I have received the email, but the only thing which I'm confused in the website is the very key. So what you detail that? Can you just send me the link again and so that I can just go through the
I'm so sorry, Bushra. आपकी आवाज थोड़ी सी कट रही है. Could you kindly repeat your question?
Okay. Is there any template for that?
Bushra, I'm really sorry. We're not able to hear you. Maybe drop your question in the Q&A.
Okay, I am sending. Okay.
Okay, so I got your question. Is there any template? And the next question is for the financial proposal. There is no set template. We've included what needs to be included in the financial proposal. You need to discuss your what is your funding ask, where are you going to utilize those funds, how you're going to go about in utilizing those funds, and what is the amount that you require. So this is the things that you need to address in your financial proposal. Please look at the guidelines for further details. You will understand what are the other options that you could include in your financial proposal. Other than that, we don't have any set template as per se. All you need to do is just mention your required funds for the model as well as the operationalization of the project. Does that answer your question? Which link would you want? Do you want the link for the ICF? Then yes, we will provide it to you. Yes, yeah. We'll provide that to you. Yeah, we'll have that. Okay. So Bushra, we do not require a pitch deck. We require a technical proposal that would be very detailed. It would include all the modalities of the project, how you intend on creating innovation and sustainability in your project, what aspects of the tech platform you will be working on, which features your tech platform would offer, who are your technical partners you will be working with, who will provide what feature on the platform. These are the things that you need to address in your financial proposal. There is no requirement for a pitch deck. We require other documents that need to be provided, that are mandatory to be submitted, which includes the certificate of incorporation, the NTN, the letter of intent from all the consortium partners, as well as the financial partner, the CVs of all the key players, key members who will be working on the project, as well as the audited financial statements. Yes, the documents are available in the guidelines. We will share them again with you.
Arusha, please also, okay, I'll mention, we'll upload who has missed it, they can listen to it. We'll also respond to the questions afterwards. In the interest of time, I think we would restrict the questions here, or किसी को specific questions होंगे, they can reach to us through emails or through our phone calls and reach out to Arusha. She will respond. Moisab, you have a hand raised. If you have any question, you can ask her. I will respond to Mohsen Saab as final bit of the presentation.
Ji Moisa, please go ahead and ask your question.
No. It was inadvertently by mistake, sir. Just no questions. I'm okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Hassan, would you like to take Mohsen Saab's question again?
Yes, please. I'll respond. I've noted it down. Bushra, you have question, or it's a legacy hand?
I think we can move on to Mohsen Saab's question.
Oh,
she is not responding.
Mohsen Saab, we can respond to your questions in detail post this call presentation. Anytime convenient for you, you can write to us or set up a call with Arusha for further clarity if needed. Coming back to your question, whether there is an element, for example, you gave an example such as providing grant to for a subscription, let's say, for any kind of subscription. My point here would be, okay, one-off subscription is okay. Can we ensure the buy-in or skin of the entrepreneur in the game or not? We can push anything from the supply side, but is demand side actually willing to contribute towards it? Sustainable hona chahiye. Any solution that is to be paid, we are not barring कि उसके अंदर grant का element, सिर्फ grant का element होना चाहिए या सिर्फ financing का element होना चाहिए. It's entirely up to the solution, whether it is, if the proposers believe it is compelling enough, has an element of scalability, बिल्कुल हो सकता है, grant 100% grant हो सकता है. But then it has to justify कि उसकी post grant stoppage, उसकी sustainability क्या है. That's the whole idea. Specific Shopify की subscription किसी ने देनी है, it's $100 a month or a year. It can be done 100% through grant, but then there is an assurance, or there is an element that the advisory committee would like to look at. What is the guarantee वो एक दफा utilize करेंगे, जैसी grant withdraw होगी वो नहीं करेंगे. Essentially, अगर कोई revenue stage के ऊपर business है and they see any the entrepreneur, जो end customer होगा for these services, if they see any value, maybe they would like to partially contribute it. So partial subsidy का element भी आ सकता है. Said that, I think I would not restrict any proposal as Karandas जहाँ पे 100% grant का element हो या 100% returnable capital का element. It can be blended finance हमारी approach ये है कि the idea anyone is pitching should have those elements of post grant या post financing exit sustainability और इसको वो track किया जाना चाहिए. That's our final thoughts. We'll welcome your questions. हम आपके साथ, if anyone needs another one-on-one telephone call, meeting, consultation, we can also do that. In the interest of time, I think we'll stop here. Arusha, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. If you have any further questions, drop them at ichallenge@karandas.com.pk or reach out to me directly. You can call us on our number. I will also leave that with the participants who joined us today. You can reach out to me whenever you like. If you don't have any further questions, we will be ending the presentation. Mohsin Saab, I would call you in a while and we can address any other queries that you might have. Thank you so much, everyone.
Really appreciate listening to me patiently, everyone. Thank you very much. Apologies for the lot of questions.
No, that's fine. Thank you so much. It probably helped other participants as well. Have a good day, everyone. We will be looking forward to your proposals on 10th of January 2022. Thank you.